Chip, what have we got here?
All right, I started off, this Blazer actually, I'm a little embarrassed to say, kind of set a record at an auction, and I was the guy that bought it. And it was the first Resto Mod Blazer I had seen, and this goes back to, I think, 2019 or 17. Anyways, the first one I ever saw that went outside of the car arena, and it had an LS3 in it, a multi-speed transmission, and all of the running gear. Then I brought it back, and I can never leave something alone. So I started really messing with it, and I've done so many things to this car, I don't even know where to start working on it, telling you about it. I started out with a basic LS3, which is a Corvette motor, and then I pumped it up, I put a cam in it, I've got a fast manifold on it, I increased the spark in the ignition, it's got some headers I put on it, it's got a cold air intake and some other things that we've done. And if you notice the brake canister over there, it doesn't have a vacuum brake system like the 70s. That's running off the power steering pump. So I went from 720 pounds of pressure to 1,200 pounds of pressure off the power steering pump, running it through a Hydro Boost system. But I had to do that because I wasn't satisfied with the brakes. I wanted it to perform like a new car, so I put Willwood brakes all the way on there, and we had to kind of fabricate the backing plates for the disc brakes. But it does have four-wheel disc brakes all the way around it on a 71 Blazer. And so it's I don't know, let's just say it's 500 horsepower. Conservatively, I don't want to get away from myself with that, but. And then we, did a couple things to the engine. If you notice, the manifold covers are all powder coated and stuff. But anyway, so it's got plenty of power, and it's running 411 gears.
Oh man!
With 35-inch tall tires, which seem to work pretty good. And it's got a CPU unit on it that you can tune it. And I've got a guy that custom tunes motors, and so he's really done a job there.
Chip, there's an awful lot of eye candy in your private museum here, and this, when we rounded the corner, like it was like a moth to a flame. I couldn't not stare at it. The thing is just stunning.
It's got a lot of touches to it. Like, you see this grill, for example? There's black paint on the bottom and the top, and chrome on the sides. So depending on where you are, it can look chrome, or it can give off the black paint, which goes on top of this DuPont lacquer that we laid up on this thing. And it's got a custom light bar. I didn't want anything that was really nasty. I wanted to keep the 70s look. And if you can notice underneath there, it's got a dual Fox steering system on it for helping the tires on these smaller axles of the 150. And then you got powder coated. See those trusses? That's a 70s truss. That's what they call an axle truss. That goes from one side to the other, and it hooks up underneath the chunk, and it stiffens the axle. A lot of people don't have those on there, and they would do that. And then you've got your bigger oil capacity, B&M, the old B&M thin coolants, and I painted in between them and just left the thin silver. And we dropped the steering on it, we dropped the sway bar on it, that's why the sway bar is so low, so the thing steers amazing. And it's got a 3.5 Galot gear in the steering mechanism, the box is different than what came on it, so it handles like a new car. I mean, there's no wiggle wobble, all that. In fact, if you come around here, the whole thing, LED lights in the thing, you come inside the vehicle. I tried to keep it as stock as possible, but
it's beautiful.
I got a Momo wheel in here. I put a tilt in it column inside. The gauges are all electronic digital gauges, but they look old. Dakota Digital does a great job with that stuff. I put power windows in it, even in these thin doors, with the spring, so they work perfect. It's got Bluetooth to answer my phone. If you notice, the center console's out of a 2016 Silverado. It'll charge my phone right on top there, like a new truck. And it's got air conditioning from Vintage Air. It's got all this custom embossed leather on the doors and on the seats where we had it embossed.
Spectacular. Chip, it looks factory. It's so well done. It looks factory, but it's like next. It's like if they built one in 2023. It's just
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's leather. Wow.
And I love missile switches out of airplanes. So
Okay.
in the front of the console there, you can see those 2 red switches. Those are for my lights. I had to add missile switches.
Gotta have that.
Gotta have that. Love the fighter's plane stuff. But yeah, the whole interior's been redone, and the stereo system's got the old equalizer hanging underneath it. It's running a Blaupunkt system of power underneath there with some woofers into the back. And I'm not a boom boomer at all, but it just has a nice sound.
You want to put the rock and roll on to get the blood flowing, though, right?
Yeah. Something like a Kansas or a Boston or something like that, or Led Zeppelin, whatever. But
Wow.
it's pretty neat. And even in the back of the tailgate, these things weigh so much because they're fiberglass. You used to have to use both hands on this. I took and modified a hydraulic system off a new Ford truck.
So that's all hydraulic.
Yeah, and see they got gas cylinders on them. So this thing is no weight at all. Close it. Oh, and I put this black diamond plate inside, going down the sides. Add a little contrast to it.
What's
And,
the ceiling made out of?
It's a stock Blazer ceiling. See, in '71,
Looks brand new.
The reason I like this thing is because it goes all the way. If you take the roof off, it goes all the way to the front windshield like a Jeep.
Oh wow.
In '73, they started 73, '74. I can't remember. They ran across the top, and the top was a different section than what was over the driver's head. But this one can go like a Jeep.
So the whole it's just
The
a
whole
windshield.
top, see, it goes all the way to the front A-pillar.
Well done. You can hardly tell that it's removable. The fit and finish is impeccable.
Yeah, it does good. And I forgot to tell you about the exhaust. That's 3-inch Mindrel exhaust. And what I mean by Mindrel is no pipe bender was on there, because when you bend it with a pipe bender, you push in the reverse side of the bend, you know. So it was all hand welded 3 inches all the way to the end. This thing sounds good. And again, you got the same trusses, the same rim, 4 disc brakes. You know, everything on this thing has just been done. Fox suspension. And the wheels, I'll start talking to you about the wheels. It's got the reservoir Fox shocks. But the wheels themselves are custom made by EVO in California.
Wow.
And they will do anything you want as long as it's safe and, you know, meets all the DOT requirements. Now, I liked the Chevrolet Rally Sport wheels, but I didn't want 15-inch wheels. I wanted 17s, and I wanted something aluminum. So what this is, there's 10 holes here. They go around, like a Camaro had 5 holes.
It looks like a factory original rim.
Well, it is. Every bend in this thing is exactly the same as the stock rim. So it's an aluminum copy, one piece. Look, even this is an aluminum piece.
One off.
One off. It's just blown
No
out.
plastic over
It's
here.
just a square. It's just a square piece of aluminum, and they just make it.
The raised white letter, BF Goodrich Ultra. It just looks, the whole truck looks period correct. You know, but it's so much better than what it ever was new.
Yeah, well, you just gotta kind of. This thing, when you crank it up, it sounds like a cam. And this
Please do.
you like it?
Oh, hell yeah.
I haven't cranked this one in a while. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. This is,
Compression's coming out. You can feel it all the way out here. And
it'll blow your hat off from 20 feet. This has got to be the nicest K5 Blazer in the world, I would say. There can't be anything better than this. Sounds awesome.
Harley, not quite.
Sounds really good. That was worth the wait. That thing sounds. This thing, it barks. Has a different, even louder bark than the TRX. The TRX has got like a raspier. This sounds absolutely fantastic.
But yeah,
The rear quarter view on this
more
is.
than the 350 that came in it. You know, the old Chevrolet 350.
What's it like driving this thing?
It's like a modern car. I meant because the steering geometry's all been, everything about this is just not a jacked up truck. Even the rear suspension springs are arched up, and it's just, it's, I ran out of things to do, but I'll come up with something. But it's pretty nice. There's that new steering unit up there. See how much smaller it is than the old 71 unit. It kind of mimics that of an 81 Trans Am type of thing. It looks almost identical to that.
Everything looks factory, brand new, like it just came out of the. But like it looks factory, but way better than it ever was at the factory.
GM quit selling the LS motor, and that's going to make everybody's job a little tougher, I think. These engines are so easy to put in, and they come with all the transmissions you want. And like I said, this is a multi-speed transmission. It's not the old 3. You put it in D, and you got 3 gears. So you can put any transmission in them. You can put a 4-speed with an overdrive. You can put a 6-speed. You can do whatever you want.
Fit and finish is off the hook on this one. Chip, thank you for sharing this absolutely stunning piece of Americana, American muscle. And as always, God bless the United States of America.